Shelley was a radical. He hated tyranny and tyrants and loved freedom and liberty and the rights of common man. The Mask of Anarchy, Prometheus Unbound, and The Triumph of Life are three great long poems that Shelley wrote that celebrate the triumph of liberty and libertarian values over tyranny. Shelley's sonnet, Ozymandias, is perhaps his most famous poem, and it has an interesting history. It came about as a competition between himself and his friend, Horace Smith, a banker and a poet. This was a common practice among Shelley's circle. They would challenge one another to poetic competitions on a similar theme, and then their poems perhaps would be published in the same journal side by side. And these two poems actually were published in the Examiner, Leigh Hunt's magazine, the following year after their composition. They chose a passage from the Greek historian Diodorus on a massive Egyptian statue that was found in the sands of Egypt, perhaps in the 1st century BC. And the inscription on the base said, "King of Kings, Ozymandias am I." And curiously, at the same time, a huge stone head of the Egyptian pharaoh Ramses II was brought back from the sands of Egypt to the British Museum by a British expeditionary force, and this was a big event that Shelley and his friend Horace Smith would have been aware of. This fine poem, Ozymandias, I think reflects Shelley's view that tyranny and tyrants cannot last, and that they will always vanish in the end and fade away into the dust from which they came. Ozymandias. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, "Two vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them, on the sand half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculptor well those passions read which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things. The hand that mocked them and the heart that fed, and on the pedestal these words appear. My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch far away."